Lovely. Good, good. Oh, the pleasantry. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Town Council Planning Committee being held on Tuesday, the 26th of April in the Council Chamber. Apologies for
Yes, apologies from Councillor Paul, who is still on.
Are we happy to accept that apology, Council? Item 2, declarations of interest. Does anyone have any declarations to do? I can't see any. As ever, if you spot a declaration during the meeting that you need to make, do flag me down. We'll have it at the appropriate moment. Item 3, minutes of the meeting of the Planning Committee held on the 5th of April 2022. Are we happy to take those as a true record? All in favour?
Yes, please.
Fighting something. April. Yeah.
Yes.
Item 4, public questions in accordance with Standing Orders 22 and 23.
None,
Letters of objection.
none received.
Thank you very much. On to the meat of the meeting, the application registered for weeks ending the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th of April. So we start with. We start with 5/2022/0767, which doesn't meet the criteria. Neither does 0777. I think that's enough sevens. 0503. So our first item that we're discussing is 5/2022/0772 at 1 Browning Road.
So this property, which you'll see a screenshot of the bird's eye view, is sited on a large corner plot bordering Browning Road and Station Road. The proposal is to extend with the first floor side extension on the existing ground floor bordering Station Road, and then creating first floor front extension past the original building line to form an office area and utility room, and finishing the extension with a 1.5-storey garage, which will have living accommodation above it. The property is surrounded by low-level fencing with hedging growing above it, and gives the property and street scene an open aspect at this point in time. If I show you the next picture. Okay, so you can see at the moment the open aspect of the property. And here you can see this is the existing. This area here, this is where they want to build up. See it on screen there. Okay, so that's where they want to build up. Then they want to come along side of the property, and this is bordering Station Road. Okay, and they want to build the garage area here, which is going to be 1.5 stories. And that bit there, you can see there. This is the 2-storey. This is the single story, which is going to be the utility room. This is going to be the 1.5 story, the garage. Okay, so I have said consider express concern with regards to the impact on the street scene and also the surrounding properties with regards to the positioning of the proposed garage. The proposal will be out of keeping with the existing character of the area.
Thank you. No. Any comments from councillors on this?
Could we perhaps just go back to this site plan showing there's a better example than that one you've got there at the right? I think it showed how it's going to be laid out.
This one?
Is that the one? That's the one, yeah. Yeah, yeah. My immediate reaction is an awful bulk going right down that edge there on Station Road.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's my immediate reaction. Actually, I question that.
and
Councillor Palmer?
yes, as I say, I agree. I'd question that on the whole because it does have a huge impact on Station Road if you do that. I mean, I've noticed further along on Station Road there is a house which has got it's actually a detached garage, but it's the same idea. It's right up against it. And I can't tell you the number of people who've come up to me to make adverse comments about the effect.
I know that.
To the view, just even if you're just driving along. So yes, I think it is too much on that side along the openness of the Station Road.
Thank you, Councillor.
I just quickly say, I mean, it's one thing, the bulk of it also, but it's like the forward position. I mean, you see, go to the fourth slide, you can see the neighbour have got sort of sides of Browning Road, but you can see they've got a side garage, but then it's set back and it's a bit more, it's not so prominent. I think this would just be too prominent on the road as you look down Browning Road, too far forward. Go through the 1.5 height it is.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Any other comments from council performance? I can't see any. Given the comments been made, is committee minded towards a refusal rather than a concern? I'll put it to a vote on refusal on the basis of the street scene and the bulk as well. All in favour?
I just asked the committee actually, would you like me to just add in some of the wording that you have just said about bulk along the Station Road?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but bulk up the response as much as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Responses will be like bulk. By 2022 0491 and 0798 do not meet the criteria. So on to by 2022 0669 at land adjacent to Unit C back at Little Bowling Road. So observations on this one.
Okay, so this proposal is to install an additional overflow car park consisting of 4 parking spaces to address the parking issues for Unit C at Batford Mill. The site, although within flood zone 2, has a history of being flood-free. However, grasscrete, which is a porous material, will be used as a permanent base for the vehicle parking. The proposed site is set approximately 2 metres above river level and is partly surrounded by postal rail fencing with mature trees located to the east and west. Protection measures will be put in place while works are underway in order that trees are protected, with a further 4 trees to be installed along the boundary of the site for visual amenity. The proposed new parking area will only be used during business operational hours, and it is noted that previous approval has been given to another parking area on Batford Mill for 5 vehicles. I would inform the committee that this application has been called in by Councillor Maynard. If officers are minded to refuse it, Highways do not have any objections to it, and there have been many letters of support on St Albans District Council website. I have said consider this proposal meets the policies of the Harpenden Neighbourhood Plan and the St Albans Local District Plan, therefore no objection. Just show you. So this is the actual site itself. This is the area where the previous application has been altered. I think it's this area here. And this is the area here that the proposal is for. and there you can see the 4 parking spaces they're intending to put in. This is just the outside area here, and the back goes down.
Thank you. Then any comments from councillors on this one? I can't see any. You mind if go the recommendation on the table? On to 5/2022/0802 Dropson Way. Observations on this one?
Okay, so this property is sited at the end of a cul-de-sac and is a semi-detached property with a separate garage. Proposal shows that although the existing garage is to be demolished, the original footprint of the property appears to be doubling in size. Single-storey rear extension extends along the neighbouring boundary by 3 metres, with a 2-storey side extension adding another 4.5 metres in width to the dwelling and 11 metres in depth. The single-storey side extension is set well back from the front building line. There is an increase in bedrooms from 3 to 5. The parking provision appears to be sufficient, subject to the extension of the dropped curb to allow for additional parking. The proposal doesn't appear to have any detrimental impact due to the layout of the neighbouring site. There has been a letter of objection from number 53 regarding a 2-storey extension. They say that it will actually block their light, and also they don't like the parking spaces due to the loss of the grass, and they're concerned about vans parking, driveway, etc. But if you look actually at the site, so this is the original site, where that red cross is there, that's where the 2-storey extension is going to be. This is number 53 here. The person that wrote in, and the blue crosses are the single-storey extensions. So this is the frontage of the property. This is number 53. Okay. This is the existing. This is the side extension here, side extension here, rear, single-storey there, and a 2-storey there. And again there, you can see it, that's the 2-storey there, which in my view is well away from number 53 here, and sited well away from the other neighbouring property. Then you can see the parking here. So I have said consider no objection subject to no detrimental impact on neighbouring properties or the character of the street scene. And regarding the loss of grass, when I looked at the street scene, there were other properties that actually had paved their driveways to allow for parking.
Any comments from councillor Shannon?
My only slight concern, Chair, is it's a big lump of property on a relatively small site, it's taking up a lot of the area.
Yeah, no, I had very similar thoughts. Councillor Draper, you can say something to
Yes, I mean, it is very bulky to squeeze that in onto that particular plot. I was just wondering, is there actually sufficient parking? But how many, with the extension, how many bedrooms is this now? It really is quite chunky.
They are taking it from 3 to 5.
So they need 3 spaces, don't they? Will they have 3 spaces?
Maybe 2 in the driveway.
And there's certainly nowhere to park on the street. It's the end of the cul-de-sac.
Councillor Bond.
I was going to say on parking, and I honestly can't remember, I didn't look at it, whether highways have commented on the dropped curb or not, because it would have to meet.
It would have to do that.
Yes, and it's also because, I mean, there are just defined rules for a dropped curb.
Yeah.
So it would have to do any changes to.
I didn't pick up on highways commenting on this.
No, well, I didn't. So I think that's whether they've not put them in, but to an extended dropped curb, they would have to just comment, they would have to meet the rules,
Yes.
because they're quite strict rules when you drop codes.
You also know it's quite a lot of property, all the way around.
No, the whole end of the street appears to be dropped.
I'm just saying, it's worth mentioning, it would have to meet.
I don't think comment right, I don't think comment right on the loss of the grass, because many houses now
Yes.
have removed the grass at the front of, if we're asking for sufficient parking, we say you can't remove your lawn. It's going to be very difficult indeed. My other question was, what, looking at the plan at the back, so obviously the neighbour was commented about the light. I couldn't see that was going to be a problem with a 45-degree angle. Couldn't see that.
I just wondering if this Waveney, I'm just checking on my phone, is Waveney Road behind? They're quite low.
Yes.
So I wonder if that is going to impact.
I had a similar thought about amenity from what I presume is going to be a window in that two-story. Given it is quite close to the end of its own building.
Yes, because both, a lot of the properties on Waveney are bungalows, aren't they?
But Robertson Way, according to my map, doesn't back on. I think that this one does back on to gardens of houses on Waveney.
Yeah.
So,
There's a potential amenity problem there.
yeah.
I mean, I think that as Councillor Tracy said, I think the grass point on the front is, you know, I mean, I think I'm right in saying they wouldn't need planning permission to build that up if they weren't putting in a planning
If it's your law, there's nothing to say.
So they could have done it,
You can't,
they could have done that anyway.
yes.
They could go out with a shovel now and do it
Yes.
before it gets considered. Not that I'm recommending that.
No.
But yes, I think I have some concerns about the bulk on that site. I think there is a potential overlooking at the rear, which would have an amenity effect on the later. I do think those are probably worth mentioning, even if it's only in a express concern
Yes.
context. Does anyone else have
So
anything?
that would express concern on three aspects: the bulk, the overlooking, the amenity, and it should have 3 parking places, not 2.
Yeah, so on the parking, did we establish if there is a third?
There are 3 there.
Oh,
There's one there that you can't see.
They're not
very
actually
clearly.
they're not actually drawing the third card, but it looks like there's a space
It's
for it.
there in the middle. I can see it on my screen.
Oh, can you?
can't
Okay.
see it there.
Right, whether you could get a car in it is a different
Well,
question.
I can see the paint outline.
Yes.
You need to play a game of Tetris to get the cards actually.
You certainly think the drop good.
So yeah, so I think it's the bulk, particularly given the size of the plot, so
Yes.
potentially an overdevelopment of the plot and potential effect on the amenity of the neighbours. And I think personally I'd express concern on those bases rather than not giving an objection. All in favour if that's the recommendation? Okay. Okay, 5/2022, 0755 82 Ox Lane. Observations on this one?
Okay, so this property is semi-detached and sited on the corner of Ox Lane and Watson Way with parking at the rear of the property. Proposed 3-bedroom dwelling is to be attached to the side of the property, leaving 1 metre clearance from the side boundary. The host property will incorporate a new single-storey rear extension and front porch, with the new dwelling mirroring the porch, but showing a 2-storey element in place of the single-storey extension. Both properties will accommodate 3 bedrooms, and parking provision is shown to be at the rear of the property, where the existing garage is to be demolished and the space adapted for 2 parking spaces for each property, with the vehicle crossover to be widened. The applicant states that the necessary permission will be sought for the relocation of the telegraph pole and the telecoms cabinet. The amenity space for each property meets the necessary requirements, and there does not appear to be any detrimental impact on the street scene due to the variety of properties or neighbouring properties with the exception of the host dwelling, which may be impacted by the two-storey element of the new property. No trees will be affected by this proposal. Highways have no objection to it. There is a letter of objection that's been received regarding the terracing effect on the street scene. I have said express concern with regards to the two-storey element of the proposed new dwelling, which could have a detrimental impact on the existing and future occupiers of 82 Ox Lane in terms of loss of amenity. I can show you. So, this is the bird's eye view, and you can see here there's this parking area at the rear property, and this is the street scene from the front, and you can see there is space at the side for some sort of a dwelling, so required, but it would only be small. And this is the existing layout. Here you can see the existing dwelling, and this dwelling here you can see the two-storey extension, or build on it I should say, which would reflect down onto this part of the original dwelling, which I'll feel this a little bit. Existing. See the proposed. But of course, there's another house this side as well, which is attached to. There again, it's the existing. This is just showing the internal layout. See the proposed layout again, and this is, you see, this is the two-storey, and this is the next doors or the original host dwelling, and they're single storey. You can see how dominating this could be.
Those are roof lights on.
They are roof lights, yes.
Which direction you can see affecting them to light, because there's no way that's going to.
Exactly.
That's the balance that hand.
It is a house.
Was it raised?
It is a small plot to shoehorn another dwelling into, and I can't see that certainly with what's in front of us. I cannot see any other than that it will have an adverse effect on the amenity, the existing future one. But I also agree that it will create a terracing effect and adversely affect the street.
I think the park is impractical.
Yes.
In reality, it's impractical.
I would have brought that up, but I looked further down the road and I could see that they were doing that on other drives as well. And I thought, I'll use that one. That's the only thing that stopped me.
I think impractical but not impossible. Therefore, planning efforts.
Yes.
I agree.
Councillor
Well, I was only going to say, just as an add-on, I have no idea how easy it is or otherwise to get permission to relocate a telegraph pole and telegraph cabinet because it's inconvenient for your plan extension. I have no idea.
Probably possible than the house to build. To move them.
I have no idea.
But at least they've recognised that point.
At least they've recognised it.
So.
Yeah.
It's easy in principle, but not necessarily in practice. You have to find something to
Yes. Well, that's what I was thinking. We find
side.
another site.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I welcome the ambition of trying to create another home in a site that, you know, potentially would take one, but I think it's too much, and particularly the two-storey. I think it's too, it's too much on too small a site. Any other comments from councillors? Are we mind to go with the recommendation, or do we want to go with something slightly stronger? All in favour express concern?
Stronger.
All in favour of refusal?
concern, but that's fine.
I put these things to a vote. 5/2022/0494 Lee Road.
This bungalow is sited on the junction of Lee Road and Clarendon Road and is surrounded by two-storey dwellings. It has a large hedge which borders part of the front boundary in Lee Road and along the side boundary along Clarendon Road. At the rear of the property is the two-storey side flank wall of 8A Clarendon Road, with the single-storey element being the garage wall. No windows are built into these areas. The proposal for two semi-detached houses appear to be sited on the existing footprint of the bungalow pulled away from both side boundaries. The rear building line of the proposal is set back from that of neighbouring property number 3, Lee Road. The distance from the rear of the proposed properties to the rear boundary is 13 metres. This is acceptable as there are no window-to-window distances to consider. Each proposed dwelling will have 3 bedrooms and parking provision for 2 vehicles along with a bicycle stall. The proposal shows the repositioning of the existing crossover and an additional crossover in order to be able to accommodate the proposed parking spaces. Although the additional crossover is to be positioned a minimum of 3.6 metres away from the corner of the plot, the hedgerow itself is 1.8 metres tall and could present a visual blind spot for vehicles turning into the road. No letters of rejection have been received. However, Herts Highways, they've mentioned a tree on the highway which will block the sighting of access points, and also mentions the lack of an arboricultural report regarding tree details. And there are also say there are no details of dropped curb sizes or distances. So they're not happy about it. I have said consider express concern with regards to the positioning of the proposed additional crossover, which due to the existing hedgerow along the boundary of the property creates a possible visual blind spot for vehicles turning into Lee Road. Just run through with you. Right, okay, so again, this is another one. That's the property on Lee Road. See it from a different angle there. So these are the 2 houses that they want to put, and they do actually fit okay on the plot themselves. You can see that this is the big tall hedge along the edge of Clarendon Road there. And this is where they want to put this additional crossover, which you can see is very close.
I think I'm right in saying on the to the left of that, the other diagram with the existing house shows 2 accesses to the road. Is that sort of artist license?
Well, I think it is because
Are they trying to fool us by making us think they're there already?
yes, because I don't think they are.
Bring us apart.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. See, I think that's artist license to make us think it's there.
Yeah, because I think when I looked on the actual road scene, I'm pretty sure it wasn't there.
That tree is clearly the one they're referring to in highlights.
Yes.
But this one here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be that.
Yeah. Because that would be next to where the access would be.
And that's actually on the, that's public tree.
Yeah.
yeah.
It looks like a public tree.
Yeah, it looks like it is on pavement.
Yes.
Um,
And I think highways also state, highways won't take down the tree that's in sight. It's the benefit of if we're across the road curve, they won't remove the tree.
Which is a shame. So actually, I think the rest of the proposal, aside from the access, is quite good.
Yes.
But fortunately, the access is what the access is.
I agree with you. I think the proposal itself, the access is very dangerous indeed.
Yes.
Are we minded to go with the recommendation of express concern? All in favour?
Yes, at the end of the day, they don't want to do that access. The highways will be against it.
Genuinely really hope that they find a way to do the access that's acceptable.
Yeah.
So I think the rest of the process is pretty good. 5/22/0815 doesn't meet the criteria, neither does 0820. So on to 5/2022/0660. For Oakfield Road. Calculations on this one.
This proposal is to replace the existing 5-bedroom dwelling with another 5-bedroom dwelling, which will be smaller in width but larger in depth, with a lower ground floor level. Property is shown as being set back 2 metres from the front of the neighbouring 2-storey properties and will be 20 metres in depth, which is 6 metres shorter than the existing property. New garage is to be created and sited on the north side of the property adjacent to number 2 Oakfield Road. There'll be a new ridge height to the proposed new dwelling of 9.8 metres, which appears to be in keeping with the neighbouring property having a ridge height of 9.4. The rear building line of the property extends further than the rear of both neighbouring properties. However, due to the siting and distances between habitable rooms of these dwellings, the 45-degree rule is not impacted and there's no loss of amenity. The application also shows that the existing vehicle crossover is to be resited on the centre of the plot to allow for better access to the garage. Tree removal on the site is shown as 4, with 4 replacement trees to be replanted in their place. There are numerous trees on this site which remain unaffected. Highways are okay with this application and show no objection. A letter of objection has been received from number 8 regarding the height and bulk. And they say that it's 2.5 stories on the property, but I think that's probably because there's a basement aspect. Because when you actually look at the plans, it isn't any higher. It doesn't show any higher, like 2.5 stories. So this is the property here. And when I was actually looking at, thought I'd go along and look at number 8, and actually when you look at number 8, there's quite a humongous property.
It is, isn't it?
They're all big on there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Okay. So
But 4 is next to number 8. What do we know what number 6 is like?
So that's number 4, that's number 6.
Looks like still quite a substantial property from here.
Yeah, they're all are.
I think they all are.
Yeah, they're all big properties.
It's a private road.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't
Is this the
actually.
road that comes off Redbourne Line?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
I can't remember the small one.
Even Mr. Google Man. Okay, so this is. Yeah, this is existing. This is the proposed.
The previous one was the proposed. It's not that one. But
First one was proposed, yes, it is miles away, yeah, because you can see here it's going past these properties. So this is number 6 here. You see the 45-degree line just about. You see it on the screen, can you? Yeah. Go back to this one. Okay, but you can see that it's only, doesn't look like a 2.5 story. Like a 2-story. And it's like, that's basement area here.
Which side of the road is actually on the south side?
yeah,
I think the land does
Change.
fall away, I think a bit. No,
Right.
I think it does, which might make the extra half story.
Okay.
And it's downhill as
That's what
well.
I'm saying.
It's both ways.
Yeah, so the lot line falls away at the back.
It goes southwesterly down.
I think this has been called in. It
Yes.
moved into grounds.
Yes, it has. That's my next comment. Yes, it's been called in by councillor Ellis, if voted to grant, on the, terms of excessive and out of scale. I have said no objection, provided that there'll be no loss of immunity to neighbouring properties or the streets.
Councillor Lowe?
Could you just go back, please, to the rear of the property, because I can see why they're saying it's looking like.
Is this the rear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. I mean, you look at that and say that's. the floor.
Yeah.
Yes, because. Back is window. Yeah. So I can see why somebody else saying it's 3 floors. But I understand that
Yeah,
it's sloping away, but.
and then presumably you're going to dig out the bottom bit to get to there. So
Yeah, I mean, where it dropped down, it looks like that would be a patio or something.
The key point is how high is it in relation to the neighbouring properties?
Yeah.
It doesn't appear to be much higher than the neighbouring property.
That said, if you look at have we got a picture of the current one from the front? If you look at the proposed streets,
Oh, there you go.
for some reason we're not on the same pictures.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe you're frozen on the board. I was bringing, oh no, that's because the timer is taking long.
Why are we not working? That one?
If you try unsharing and then sharing, is that possible? Because I think it's just having like. Yeah, so you can see actually, I'll talk through what I can see, and if we can get the pictures. So the thing that I think is the concern on the height is less the actual height and more the fact that the roof goes from sort of like this to like this. And I think given the neighbouring properties seem to slope slightly on their roof, I am a little bit concerned. It does look a lot bigger, even though it isn't.
This just from the rear elevation or from the
From
front?
the front, because of the form of the roof rather than because of the height of the roof. You've got this in natural place.
Can we see the front, can we see the front elevation again? Is that possible? Or
We can't, at the moment, we can't see anything.
The frozen.
We're back on animal. for a minute. Yeah. So this is what I'm referring to. Is the fact that I don't even know that it's necessarily much bigger in terms of the roof. It does appear like it's.
There's a little bit of that's all true on the existing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It will come like jump. No, but it's quite significant. I've said that.
Number 6.
be interested to see how much bigger it is than number 8. It's not big number 8, so it might be that material beside it is smaller, but then the whole street.
Yes, I suspect, if I had to ask to guess, that these are ones that haven't had much done to them.
There's some big houses on the other side as well.
Yes, there are some very big ones.
There are some relatively new things demolished.
On the other side of the road, look like Roman palaces or something.
I'm comparing anything to a palace again. The last time I did someone email me.
Okay. Because I was thinking about that rather than finding it hard to call. In Derbyshire. Yes. Yeah, it's yes, with all the windows on the front. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful bit of art, actually. Yeah, the windows are actually all quite small. It's up in this big front, you think you've got lots of windows, but I look at the window sizes, but quite small windows.
So do you think the windows
Well,
are?
I'm not saying in this case, that's the back, that's different. You go to the front, you might find.
Yeah.
I've often, I think, put an awful lot of windows and began to look and realise the windows are actually quite small.
Okay. It's just I'm thinking if you've got a lot of lights on, that is really flood. And lights on.
You find it, the cost of, you'll be charging them off, we're leaving them on.
What if they got TVs in?
Sorry?
What if they got TVs?
All the house like that.
Yeah.
Let's bother about the image.
Cheap prices rise and fall. Planning laws live on. Anyway. So I think, I mean, issue with looking at the slides aside, I think we're, need to come to a decision. I mean, I broadly think if the bulk is fine, and I'm both ways on whether or not it is in terms of the effect on the streets, I think the rest of it's okay. I think we should mention the fact that the tree replacement isn't in line with the Hertfordshire neighbourhood plan, but I think I wouldn't, given they're replacing like for like, I wouldn't be minded to refuse on that basis. And other than that, I think the rest of it's just what we've got there, but I think we need to mention the bulk in a slightly more robust way than we have in the draft. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going with no objection or express concern, but I think the second half of it is not provided there's no loss of amenity, effect on the street scene and the potential of the property. And we want to mention the light point, or it would be fairly happy with that.
It's quite difficult to say affecting the street scene given the size of other houses.
Yes, in terms of, I was more referring to in terms of the bulk.
Yes, I think perhaps the bulk, yeah, but in terms of,
Yes,
I think it's quite, yes.
street scene point of view, it's being conditional on that, rather than the general point of the street scene. And then mentioning that they don't meet the tree criteria, just, as a note. With all of that, the second half of the recommendation, our committee members minded, I'll start with express concern and then work downwards. Minded towards express concern, all in favour? No? No objection, all in favour? Okay, that's what
With the caveats.
yes, with the caveat.
So with the caveat of,
Yeah, provided that no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties and that the bulk doesn't have a detrimental impact on the streets.
No first effect on the.
And the trees.
Yeah, and the committee knows that the proposal doesn't meet the tree policy, etc. Okay, 5/2022/0661/25 Grove Avenue. Observation.
I don't know how successful we're going to be with the actual street scene. Because there seems
Your mouse seems to have frozen.
my house is working.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know your mouse, your cursor, the screen that's
Let's
frozen.
go back to the. The screen you from before, which is. If you go with the screen sharing thing. Yeah. Try just sharing another screen window and then coming back. Because I just think it might have jolted. What about if you click stop presenting, just like hang up or something? You press that sort of button. You've got no least technologically savvy councillors that next to you.
The cursor isn't moving anywhere.
Massive moving.
It's just stop.
Is it moving?
It's moving on the laptop, but it's just the screen's frozen.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean, because I can't see it. That's what I'm saying, it's not
Yeah.
moving on the screen.
It really isn't frozen because the timer at the bottom is ticking. And we're moving. Which is why I can't find it.
It's really trying unsharing it and resharing.
That's what we've been doing.
Well, my only no-tech systems control out the link, really, I suppose.
It's screen share because it's showing, it's the bit which is sort of showing your
Yeah.
PowerPoint, which is frozen. The sort of planning committee mem and the time, it's an overlay.
You've got the actual remote of this.
If I touch anything, we might go off.
Yes. I'll give it a go.
Something happened.
Press the side button. I don't know what that is. To be fair, if it's frozen, it turns off, some of it still records. Ah, there I am. Okay, whether that's helpful. Get back. Okay. This is the experience. Okay, good one, huh? How do I get rid of that? Right, got no idea. I'm going to press the button, trying to make it work.
What happened if you blew up the small picture in the corner? And then decrease it again, like sort of magically make it.
Trying to avoid blowing anything up. Yeah, my technological abilities. I did something.
Because I don't quite know how you do it, because sometimes when screen freezes, you've really got to close it down and start again.
Yeah.
You switch it off. Switch it back
Yes.
on again.
Yes, basically,
And
yes.
now we're back to contents.
It's my usual fallback.
This hasn't
That's
happened.
what everybody's for.
Yes, everybody's fallback. I'm not Mrs. Techie.
I think we just.
We'll just have to do it old style.
Unsolved. First time I've ever gotten close to the technology to solving a problem. Try screen sharing again. Have a hunch. Stop sharing and now try and share again.
The younger mind.
This is definitely one for the younger.
Yeah,
Let's have a look at it, this one.
then my granddaughter to come and look at it.
Yes, my, my nephew. Yeah.
I think we're not going to solve this, so let's move on.
Into the day, still recording the meeting. Day.
Yeah.
So we just have to.
The meeting itself is working. It's just
It's great, isn't
Right, okay, so we were at 20.
yes.
Okay. So this property is set within a row of bungalows. Property is proposed to be demolished and replaced with a chalet type bungalow accommodating 4 bedrooms. The garage at the rear of the property is also to be demolished and a new vehicle crossover installed. The design of the new dwelling shows a hipped roof line to the sides in order to create less impact with regards to height, with small hipped roof door windows When the single-storey rear element extends past the neighbouring properties, it would have no detrimental impact with regards to the 45-degree line or loss of amenity. Parking provision for this new four-bedroom dwelling is described as 2 parking spaces, although there's no detail shown on the drawings. Information has been requested from the Ecological Advisor at Herts County Council with regards to photos of the building relating to a VAT survey. Consider expressed concern with regards to insufficient information on the application drawings relating to and including parking provision for this proposed four-bedroom dwelling. There has been a letter of objection from 27 Grove Avenue regarding the sidewalls being too close to their boundary, possible blocking of light and less privacy, and also the boiler extraction fumes, which already blow towards their habitable rooms, which will get worse. And also highways have refused dropped curbs because they haven't met their criteria.
Yes, let's have a look. Old Street.
The side windows, the neighbouring properties look good. I was scribbling on the schematics that you sent me to actually see where they were.
I didn't feel that the actual proposal was necessarily close to the
No.
boundary walls at all.
It definitely looked like it was as far apart as it might be.
Right, we go to the.
Got used to this.
There was a lot of us.
Is this?
Is there any way, Chair, we can reject this for some reason with insufficient information given, but we can't consider it? Full stop.
I mean, we can do what we like, really, but yeah, I think that's an option. We've done that before. They haven't survived the trade report.
Like they need to consider anything else, just throw it back because it hasn't filled and now tick all boxes.
Yeah, and also, this is what the park, you know, the highways have refused to apply rock curb.
Yeah. Maybe I've been a bit needy.
And I can't really tell because there is a problem with the side windows and I'm closing because I can't see the neighbouring property has a side window here. Well, you get it right now. So, but there are rather significant side
It's no
windows.
context of its name. I don't know why. A picture of a wall with a window, isn't it?
Oh, that's an existing garage.
Yes, that's the existing garage. Something clear. It's still a little bit of a new context. But I mean, I thought, there is a,
Cool.
I mean, I would have thought. It's right there.
What you can about.
Yes. We're looking at that.
We're a new initiative to get everyone steps up.
Unfortunately, I can't make any judgment now.
Because it's, I mean, if they've been told it's not a drop curve, then there isn't any parking provision.
They have a
Well, you can just drive over.
Yes.
No,
Yes, but it's,
a point.
Bundy.
I have no idea.
you can, yes, you can.
Maybe it's going to somewhere that didn't have a drop curve.
Yes. Technically, I mean, technically you can, but something like very easy.
But also you'd have to drive over some grass.
Yes.
Could be slightly more different.
Existing elevation.
If it rains, you get bogged down trying to get out your drum.
Technically, you know, if you've not got a drop curve, you've got to put down driving right. Technically, you're going to have an element, aren't you, when you drive finishes and you're driving over.
Yeah.
pavement.
Yeah. Right. That's a picture of a wall.
So it's the garage.
It's very unhelpful plan. I know what a rectangle looks like.
I found that drawing about, you've never found.
Yes, we did make some comment over here, but it didn't.
But it is the existing garage.
It is the existing garage, but there's no context.
Exactly.
They could have done a picture of the existing garage.
I mean, I can see on the picture here where it is, but it doesn't. But anyway, you can see where it is, but it doesn't actually.
Yeah. Well, I think as we said, I think we're considering something, but we don't have enough information to consider it. So, whether we go with concern or refusal, I think we're quite happy to actually use form of view. So
We should review that.
I will put it to a vote if you recommend refusal. All in favour? I don't think we actually have enough to
Nothing make take.
even the stuff about the park.
Yes.
On to 5/2022/0695 58 Pipers Crescent. Population on this. Sorry, go back.
It's okay. Okay, so this along this stretch of Pipers Crescent are very similar in design, and the proposal to add a single story front extension will not change the character and appearance of the street scene. The existing garage will be incorporated into habitable accommodation, with the garage door being replaced with a window. The roof line of the porch is shown to be extended along the remaining front element of the building to allow for the living area to meet it, which is similar to other properties in the road. At the rear of the property, the proposed two-storey element extends 4 metres past the building line and runs the entire width of the property and incorporates 3 hipped roofs. Although extending fractionally past the building line of both neighbouring properties, there appears to be sufficient space between each property to avoid any negative impact. No trees are detailed on the drawings, so it's unclear as to whether any will be affected. No parking provision has been detailed in the proposal either, although it appears that sufficient parking is available for the increase from 4 to 5 bedrooms. Consider no objection provided there is sufficient parking provision made available as detailed in policy 14 of the St Albans Local District Plan. That's for this one.
Just to slow the ball over the papers, I think we should also mention in this, whatever the recommendation is about, subject to the trees that are doing.
Yeah.
If they haven't provided us with the information.
So just have the switches here. Back. What's interesting? Let's see. You can see there.
Very quite mixed houses.
I think the reasonable plots for one.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
It seemed to carry equally like roof line plan.
I was quite comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I think it's only the point about the trees, whether the parking is,
I couldn't see. Just this bit here.
green.
Yeah.
And there is something that looks like plastic structure. It might be Christmas.
Size terms and not that like other houses.
No,
Along like first.
I don't think there's a lot of them, to be honest. It's just, you know, bits that we don't know. It's a question.
So I think it's done, so just say subject students. It's not that, it's just that's where that's interesting.
Provided that there's sufficient transparency for the site. But as details of obviously to and the whole package of whatever it is.
The only question is,
I'll adhere to
As there was insufficient detail to confirm. I never remember which number each of the policies are.
It's a bit, I don't know where I put it. I was used to bring that. Yeah, my local plan down.
Mine is on my desk because I always have a look and I always forget which policies it's supposed to be open. Okay, so with the recommendation mentioning the trees as well as the parking, we're happy with no objection or in favour? Okay, 5/2022/0716, looking at criteria, so on to. Okay.
yeah, no, sorry.
On to 5/2022/0773, it's 13 Kirkwick.
Okay, this property is currently a 3-storey, 6-bedroom dwelling sited in the Harpenden Conservation Area in a road made up of properties which are very varied in design and scale. The proposal is to build over the existing single-storey side element of the property, install an internal staircase, and then to extend the garage forward, creating a 2-storey extension above it. The increase in size and depth to the side extension may result in a detrimental impact on neighbouring property number 15 Kirkwick Avenue with regards to loss of amenity. There'll be no increase in bedroom accommodation and parking remains sufficient for the site. No trees appear to be impacted by the proposal. Consider expressed concerns with regards to the proposed 2-storey side extension, which due to the increase in both height and depth to the front of the property could have a detrimental impact on neighbouring property number 15, Kirkwick Avenue, in terms of loss of amenity. I'll show you. They are putting sort of the garage side extension forward. That's it. It's just going to put it forward. And I think it will impact on the neighbouring property. It's a shame I can't get the picture up to show you because on the street scene.
Sometimes it don't freezes it, so.
Like pressing buttons.
Yeah.
Pressing buttons.
I mean, this one, street scene will show you.
Back to the gallery.
It's pressed the stupid button. Yeah.
And then try, we go back to,
Gallery.
yeah, and then perhaps try sharing screen on each of the 3 different options. So I'm sharing.
You can see the content screen in the bottom right, though, which is still black. Next to us.
Yeah.
A slightly different shade of nothing. If you try just sharing the screen. By sharing your screen, do you know where you go on that option? Yeah, so you go on share. By sharing the screen. You box the and press it. Basically. On these buttons. technological abilities, no, no.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll pass these plans round.
On a place in the street. I know.
Okay, so if I pass around that one, and if you, this is the existing, if you can just imagine that it's built over the side garage and pulled forward. Okay,
Significantly.
yeah, and if you look, that's the proposed, I'll show you. This is the street, so this is.
Right, yes, he does.
These are the property. And then it's built over that forward, so you can see the effect on this.
Really Years of substantial development, yeah.
I've got four reasons for
The
that.
impact of
I think it was an extension, thinking of the development.
That's the existing. So this is the bit that they're building over the top of as well, for the effect.
It's going to be quite significant.
Yeah, that it might have the streets in themselves.
Yes.
They're slightly on this road, but the down, but not. Yeah, you can see how big that is.
It's a big,
It's huge.
That's the bill like that.
It's huge.
This big platform there. You've got probably at the rear.
There've been no letters of objection on this.
Over windows, all of it is the
It comes, there is a bit of work happening on code with things, so it's yours, it's him, it's all
Yeah.
this, I think it's just him.
Yeah.
This.
I think the neighbours have only recently discovered this, and the owner of this property has not discussed this or disclosed it to any of his neighbours. The neighbour, I was speaking to several today, and suddenly woke up to what's going on, etc., etc. And I would propose that I may, but I looked at this in detail, there's four reasons to have objection. One is,
yes.
the building line front, and that's forward. But the building line, not the building property, they were front. Secondly, the street scene generally, is only done in the street scene.
Pretty bulky.
Down the hill. It's not going on.
And the last one is there's also windows at the rear overlooking
Quite so.
the garden next door. It gets the funny,
Distance is squared off.
so the new rear extension is four windows overlooking the swimming pool area and the sitting out area patio on the next door.
So it's amenity street scene,
Very. Yeah.
amenity in multiple.
If you've got the site plan, you can see the way the
Yeah, the garden, I noticed the garden.
Yes, we noticed. Yeah.
you notice,
Yes.
but then we see, so the swimming pool of this property is there. It's there. So this new development is going to overlook the swimming pool and the patio area, which is there.
By looking at the plans.
But it is, even if it isn't a
It's very
swimming pool, even if it's just a
And I was just,
patch of shrubland, it is amenity.
and I was saying that roof form is very bulky.
Yeah.
Because it's a sort of thing like it's squared off, and it's
Very tall as well.
very tall, and no, and because there's no, it makes it even more.
And on top of that, the property back, the property, I know the property next door very well. I used to not live there anymore, so I know vested interest. But the ground slopes away quite dramatically, so if you come up at the back of the house next door, you're a good 6 feet down into the garden. You walk down steps. It's a swimming pool area, it's the ground falls away quite steeply. Which means the next door building will look even taller.
And as you say, on the streets, the hill is big. And so you're going to be looking up the hills.
And it isn't the conservation area.
Yes.
Yeah, it does have an impact on character of the area. Yeah.
A lot of roof lines. Not really a planning point. Observation.
I'm amazed the architect put this on.
Yes.
Knowing who that's.
I looked at that and thought I'd do expert.
I think it's a lot.
Very surprised that that would be done.
Yeah. I think it's on the edge with the roof lines. It's a lot. But. Six.
But I think that really, there's good reasons here. I think it'd be strong.
Yeah. With that in mind, do we mind towards recommend refusal or in favour? Oh, sorry. So long that we've done this, I've fallen out of practice and immediately returned to it.
I spent on, I didn't really spend on logging.
I mean, fine though, paperclips and elastic bands, you put them down and they go. You find them 8 weeks later, on these really for a house. Thousands of solid plastic bands everywhere. Anyway. 5/2022/0774, Jack's Famous Fish and Chips, 34 Station Road.
This application is for a property which is currently operating as a takeaway with the existing ground floor plan showing a coffee bar, cooking area and a restaurant seating area to the front of the premises. The existing first floor of the property is a 1-bedroom flat with a further bedroom and storage on the second floor. The proposal shows a single-storey side extension to be used for storage purposes and an outdoor covered seating area in place of the existing parking space, which also houses the waste bins for business. The whole of the first floor areas become restaurant seating with the inclusion of 2 separate toilets. And finally, the second floor will become a staff room and a storage area. The front and side facades of the building do not appear to have any structural or cosmetic changes. Recommend refusal. The proposed outdoor seating area would not be conducive for the amenity of the customers of the business due to both the existing air conditioning unit sited on the side elevation and also due to its cramped positioning and siting. Seating area in itself would result in the loss of the only parking space for the business, which is also used for the storage of the waste containers, which if kept within this area would also reflect on the amenity of the customers. The proposal has not shown any further proposed storage areas within the site for these waste containers.
Thank you, Mitch. Have we got plans?
I can remember them.
Just for the benefit of.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
In the, one of the flat is going to become a restaurant area, is there a convenient, is that allowed?
But I think at the planning,
Is that the license? That's the licensing.
it's the planning commission license. So you need change of use and presumably internal alterations as well.
Is there anybody living in there?
The other thing I was going to say, and I'm not sure if you've already covered this off, there is a policy somewhere about single bedroom, something more of it, not less of it, isn't there? I wasn't sure if this going the other way was.
That's the thing, because I was in a bit of a quandary about this one, because we have policies for wanting housing and we have policies for promoting business.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure. So I threw it towards my manager. And it was a difficult one because we are supposed to promote business and it already is business to start with. So it's down to you.
I think I'm fully behind supporting businesses. I think if we were minded to refuse, I think we use the weapons in our arsenal to underline the point. So whether or not we, whether or not we approve it, I don't think rests on that policy, but I think if we're not going to approve it, then we should revert to it.
Yes, I just wanted to ask about the waste bin. So the outside seating area is where the waste bins are at the moment, and you're thinking that there's just waste bins above somewhere, so they're not to be.
Yes, they have, because they are the big containers which businesses have,
Yeah.
and there is nowhere else on that premise to be able to put them.
And the area where they're looking to put tables, it's very, very small.
Yeah.
And there's such air conditioning one side and the undertaker's mortuary chapel on the other side.
No storage, there's no storage.
There's no storage, there's no parking, and there's double yellow lines, because at the moment I noticed they're not there all day, but on and off, people are obviously been down there, and the cars have been parked on the double yellow lines. And it's quite dangerous from that corner having cars.
I would just park out a bag outside on the lounge, hopefully in my house, out there,
Yes.
So
at their back door.
I have got a picture.
So I'm just wondering if they want to set up a business like that, so that the outside eating area is next to the air conditioning unit and bins, that's their call. I mean, I'm not.
Not actually convinced you can fit a table and a chair and a person to walk through them in the area that they want to put
It's
it.
just wide
Very
enough.
small space.
Yeah, it's just wide enough. They've got one of these small fans up there, and it just fits. And behind it, you can just see one of these large containers, and then it's the back of it.
One of the plans shows a picture of, I think it's possibly 6 tables for 2 people when you look at it. But then you look at the size of the space, leaving aside the dustbins and the air conditioning units, I still don't see how you could get them in there anyway.
I agree.
But it has to be environmentally conducive too.
Yeah.
And that's the ones.
Do we have that? The difficulty is, in my mind, that this is there's like the environmental aspect comes under our planning thing, or is it just a bad business thing? Well, that's just
But they are building a structure, an outdoor seating area with the cover. And then if it makes the site unsuitable for future business opportunities, then that is us.
Because the problem is, if they try and put seating and tables in there, where are they going to put the bins?
Yeah, they have to provide.
There isn't room for both.
Their bins, that they have to provide a position for the bins.
Yeah.
And they are losing the parking spots as well, which they probably need for their business.
And I'm not really sure how you transist through to the outdoor seating area, because on the plan, the only 2 ways of getting through to that seat is having to walk through the kitchen or walk through the
Or
storage.
you've got to go through the entrance and walk along Victoria Road.
Well, that's the which sort of undermines the purpose of an outdoor seating area, to my mind, but.
But I mean, I think the problem I've got is that I don't think, I suppose you could argue it's your customers to decide whether the amenity is acceptable or not, but I can't see how you possibly have got room to have, I think the key point is that they can't, I don't see how there can be room to have the bins.
Sorry, I was just my career in Olympic planning.
Business like that needs to wait.
Yeah.
but it's great. It's not, I think it's kind of pizzeria.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's time to really up. It's not going to be kitchen anymore. Yeah, it says. But the company is still called Jack's Kitchen.
Famous.
Sorry, famous.
But then they've got the table. I just don't see how this is going to work. They've got the table right over by the fence that separates it from the undertakers. And then it shows a sort of, yeah, but I don't actually see how you're gonna have that much space between the outlook covered seating area and the back of the restaurant.
Well, I know it's not to scale, but the door is about the same size as the table.
Yes,
You look at the drawing, you've got two seats on that side that are both narrower than a door. Now, granted, there are chairs narrower than a door, but I don't even get 4 people. You know, in the
I don't know, there's no
table.
pizzas. I mean, whether they're thinking of having bins and storage area, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm concerned as well about that there's one parking.
I don't think it's not the plan, but I don't think you can put bins in a storage area there, because you're not allowed to walk bins past the area that you serve food in. Well, I don't think.
Exactly, that's a storage area, so it's a storage area, it's a pantry,
Yeah.
Pantry, so you couldn't.
which you could possibly put away.
Well, I can't see how you could put, I can't see anywhere where they put an in.
Then you can't, because they're using the whole
Yes.
property.
At the moment, if anybody else possibly today, I think, on that area, there's actually a skip on it in the air at the moment. A 6-foot skip or what, it's not the biggest, but it's not the smallest. And it takes up the entire area, so I failed to see how you can fit these tables side by side with a skip. Completely fills the area,
Is it conservation area?
you know, just, no, it's not that area.
in terms of parking.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
The
it's
conservation
absolutely
area.
listed, yes.
Yes, must be. Is there anything listed?
They need planning buildings out to change the
I
outlook.
don't know what they're doing to the building, that's
Yeah,
right.
They need planning permission to change the signage on the outside.
Actually, conservation area.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's how it said they've already started.
Yeah, they have, they've already painted it, sort of, painted the exterior green, but yes.
Licensing come by us.
Businesses have a requirement to do parking spaces in the same way.
I think so, but I'm not totally sure. I would have to double check on that again, because I don't know when it comes to a town. I'm not sure how it works.
You've noticed, those, I think, wooden
Apartments
apartments.
have a parking
No,
space.
so
No.
even,
There are ones around the back there.
Yeah, yes, there are, because you've got that little side, unadopted bit of road, haven't you, where they do
So
have
there are
parking.
cars going around there, because
Yes.
obviously like those actually the shops do have flat spot.
Yes, and the parking is outside behind, as you say. It's when I looked at one that was over Domino's years
Yes,
ago. It's
and there is
parking outside.
parking around there. Yes, because there's a turning down the other side of the Undertakers, there's a turning down to some parking.
And there's another car park here in front.
Yeah.
It's a different car park.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I might do anything else, but I don't think this is a feasible. I can see how you build that so that you can get vehicles.
No, I do. But I certainly don't see where you're going to pick up them.
And if they haven't given us the information, I was wrong, but I thought you needed to provide that sort of thing in a plan application. Are we minded to go with the recommendation for setting? All in favour? Fair enough. Yeah. I'll run through the next three that don't need a condition. I will feel very slowly. I will talk at this speed. 5/2022/0852 does not meet the criteria required for consideration. Leave it as 5/2022/05/0854. I can read tonight. No, that's 5/2022/0829. Yes, 4 days. I clearly couldn't read it. So, I've never seen a television, a remote for the television. It's got Netflix on it.
And Prime, my second remote is solar powered.
Lovely. That'd be nice in the winter. Might change your channel.
No, but I've not got to, I mean, no, what I do, I just leave it on the table in the window, and that's enough.
How was it done?
It's all permanently, just leave it out,
Okay.
and like, and it's sort of permanently. Yes,
Right,
and that's automatic, and that has a button I can press for buying and Netflix as well.
I need to talk to my television company. Make my breathing easier.
Yes, I've only had televisions a month. I admitted it's my favourite place, it's very ancient.
Do you watch much Netflix?
No, I watch more on Prime. The odd thing on Netflix comes up sometimes I like.
Very easy to fix all the channels and things.
Just you spend the time flicking through it. You spend the entire evening looking what's on it, and it's got too late to watch it. It's on BritBox.
Yeah.
So the whole thing.
They have some programs made.
Is that a new one? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
they
not-
just had one, you may not like it,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
had an Agatha Christie, it was adapted by Hugh Laurie.
Okay.
So, yes, I was given, it was pretty good.
Which Agatha Christie was?
I asked Evans, oh, I like, but they did it pretty well.
A good one.
Yeah.
They don't make it often. They always make the Marples and the horror.
So, yeah, they've had one or two things they've made, they had one.
We were discussing Agatha Christie.
They did another series, not just yet, they wrote it, it was a bit like what you did Summer Murders and Profiles.
There's an idea for a television program. Okay, a holiday special. 5/2022/0838 11 Bloomfield Road. Observations on this one then? Sorry.
Right, so this property is sited next to a bungalow, which appears to be the only one in the road, or particularly in this. The proposal shows a single-storey element of the proposal to be built up to the side boundary of the property, with the two-storey front and side element pulled away from the side boundary and running in line with the existing first-storey building line. The terrain slopes down along the roadway, which will reduce any impact on the neighbouring property of number 13 Bloomfield Road. There is a window on the side elevation of number 13. However, due to the sufficient distance between the proposed two-storey element and number 13, it doesn't appear that there will be any loss of amenity. Parking provision remains the same, with a reduction in bedroom accommodation from 5 rooms to 4. Consider no objection subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring property of 13 Bloomfield Road.
Any comments from councillors on this one?
You have to say quite a lot to get rid of this.
That's absolutely.
Speak up, please.
Any comments from councillors? Yes. All in favour of the recommendation? I know.
We could take some time to look at those.
5/2022/0803 does not meet the criteria required for consideration. So on to 5/2022/0682 41 Madeira.
Okay, now there are actually, for this address, there's 2 applications. So first one is slightly more modest than the second one. So this first one is, I'll explain the outline of this one, and then the second one is a little bit more brief. Okay, so the existing dwelling is a single-storey property similar to the surrounding bungalows along this stretch of the Dairies, with two-storey dwellings stretching out further down the road. The proposal is one of two, with this one showing a small single-storey front extension which brings the front door area in line with the existing front lounge. Garage will have a side dormer built into its new roof form, facing onto the property with roof lights to the opposite side, and this will house a bedroom. To the rear, the application shows a two-storey rear extension which extends out by 3.7 metres in depth and 8 metres in width, which will accommodate a kitchen family room on the ground floor and 2 additional bedrooms on the first floor. In order to allow for this additional extension, there is shown to be an increase in roof height from 5 metres to 6.5 metres. Parking is sufficient on the property frontage. The enclosed neighbourhood plan statement details that no trees or hedging will be removed under the proposals. Consider expressed concern with regards to the two-storey rear extension, which may result in a loss of amenity to neighbouring property number 39 Deerings. Concerns are also expressed with regards to the increase in roof height, which will be incompatible and out of character with existing street scene and other properties in this particular area of the Deerings. Letters of objection, quite a few actually, have been received by St Albans District Council, stating that this application is out of keeping and the changes would make a difference to the low stock of bungalows in this particular area. I'll show you this particular application. Right, okay, this will show you it's quite substantial really. See there the existing past these, mostly across these walls. They're the actual floor plans. That's the green plans to see the changes there as well.
Right, yeah.
Your colleague bit of vision.
I know.
No, I also have this, which is.
Right, I'm just trying to
I agree. No, I you know, I was going to try and deal with
It is very substantial.
I'm also a bit worried about flying wall, which is just a blank wall.
Yeah.
It's big old.
existing.
It is out of character with the Western.
It is,
Isn't it?
it's very out of character with the. It's a very,
Signals very clearly.
you know, my reaction on it was, I was negative on it.
yes,
Vis-a-vis the streets in.
yes, because it's very, yes, it's very overbearing.
No, I was very saying architectural better.
Very overbearing.
To the box.
Normally you see the progress with it, but yeah.
That's been anything to make the changes. Yeah, which is with that number of dwellings, it is effectively two-story in fact.
In practice.
And in fact, yes, it's two-story.
And because 39 is also bumping, the fact that you've got this big inside in rear elevation makes it worse. But you know, it's eliminated. If the other one matched, it'd be fine. But yeah,
Okay, any comments from council on this one?
You refuse?
It could be a refuse, that's what we're here for. For the same reasons as given or anything extra to throw in?
I think, yes, I think you want to be, yes, I think I've already mentioned it when we've had, I think you want to say it is, perhaps add in something about it being over dominant.
Yes. And within the street scheme, so we would just, where it's in the background of characters, take out the and, the comma and stick in and over dominant on. Up to that effect. Any other comments people would like to add? No, I will start with the suggested vote on refusal and then move to express concern if we don't have a majority. So all in favour of refusal? It's pretty unanimous. The second proposal, is that how different is the second proposal?
Right.
So we'll look at it.
So the second review, so the second proposal goes the same two-storey rear extension, with the same side dormer window incorporated into the existing garage roof. There is the addition of a two-storey front extension with a pitched roof to include the front entrance doors and large window above it to form a gallery landing with two front door windows instead of the three. But it's even bigger.
Given the fact that we've just refused a smaller proposal on the grounds of both size and out of character, I don't really see there's anything for us to move to get the same recommendation.
What we want to include dominant in the other.
Oh, we'll see it.
So it matches, so because
It matches.
we've got the matches, so we said, in back to the character, there's some tweets in, we done.
I think it's also potential. It's slightly more of a light pollution. Window is like bigger. It's a gallery and the area as well. I think that would have an immediate effect on the street.
You want me to take out the express concern bit that I've got in the middle of it and
Yeah.
what's that?
If anyone wants to look at the plans for this. Okay, well, we might to go with those changes, the recommendation, all in favour? Okay, 2022-5, 2022-0887 doesn't meet the criteria, neither does 085 and 0895 either. Really can't speak today. 2022-0850 problems that happen.
This property is a locally listed building sited in the Harpenden Conservation Area. Proposal is to block up an existing side window to a storeroom sited on the first floor elevation and convert the room into an additional bedroom, adding a small pitched roof dormer window at the rear. Conservation roof windows are to be added to the existing roof form at the top of the property in order to form an ensuite to an existing bedroom. Sufficient parking spaces provided on this site with the frontage laid to paving. Consider no objections subject to appropriate design and use of materials on this locally listed building sited in the Harpenden Conservation Area. I couldn't get any street scene pictures. No letter of support, a letter of support has been received from number 8 of listed. Thank you.
I will have a look at the pictures. Refresh my memory.
Thanks. Changes on
Yeah.
change there.
Within the existing building lines.
Yeah. She's doing something else.
I mean, I don't see a lot of,
It's quite minimal.
makes the house slightly more livable, but that's got enough parking.
Yeah.
Not very free.
I don't know.
All the things I normally look for have been ticked off. So basically that.
Very small changes.
Any comments from council?
Is that just that little kitty bit of
Small thing now on the back. New, I haven't heard of before coming to this one. To make amazing my time on the mic. All in favour of the replication centre. As we start. And we're travelling a vast distance for 2022 08517. Welcome to that.
Okay, so this proposal follows a previously refused application with changes made to the areas which were highlighted by the planning officer relating to the height of and forward projection. The existing garage is positioned at the end of the rear garden of the property to the side of number 12 Avenue St Nicholas, with access to the garage and parking from this position. This new proposal shows a garage with a ridge height of just over 5 metres, which is a reduction of 1 metre, housing first floor for storage and cycle space, with a smaller area 4 metres in height to the rear, which will accommodate a Pilates studio stroke gym. This garage will replace the existing garage on a larger footprint and will be set back 7 metres from the edge of the footpath on Avenue St Nicholas. There are no side windows in the flank wall of number 12 and no side windows in the proposed new garage, therefore no loss of amenity. Consider no objection subject to appropriate design and use of materials in the Harpenden Conservation Area, and provided that there will be no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties. No letters of objection have been received. Appears that the refusal have been addressed. Basically,
And I think from the road, you can't even say when it's in the gallery, you can't see the side wall and on the rear. All you see from the road is the front.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right, yes.
So that's assuming they keep the fence. Keeping a fence is a requirement.
Yeah,
So they're basically replacing that shed.
yeah, so that's right.
That's the structure.
This is some quick thing, yeah. And this is basically what they're doing here. So we can do this bit here, which is the garage. And this is the Pilates area here. They were originally going to put cartons on the front, so they removed that,
Very minor, actually.
Yeah.
yeah. So they've reduced it a lot.
It's a lot. I don't think there's a lot wrong with this.
So I think it's.
From the fact their architects misspelled Rockhampton. Yeah, I think that looks fine.
yes.
Why, gold medal and planning paper throwing.
It's not used to it. There's a.
I think that they want something much more sensible.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? We,
Was it not so wonderful, right? So yes, that is very odd. Wonder if it used to be a pond or something. I don't know. It looks like something used to be in the middle of it and they built it in.
yeah.
Swimming pools. I don't know. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
But it's paid.
The exercise.
It's paid. It's not that they want it there. Yeah, it's good.
It might
'cause
have
it's
been a
got
rose
bricks
garden
there.
or something. It could have been a rose garden.
Yeah.
That's right, that's it.
I will stop speculating.
Yeah.
Fine. Maybe we could write something else. Okay. Are we all minded to go to the recommendation? All in favour? Okay, on to 5/2022/0566, 28 Churchfield.
A siting of this property on Churchfield is away from others which correspond with this design and is set nearer to properties which are larger and have more garden area. This dwelling is detached and has its garage and parking provision for 2 vehicles to the side, with the rear of the garage backing onto its neighbour around the bend in the road. The other neighbouring property is separated by a large 6-foot panel fence. The proposal is to extend at the front of the property with a 2-storey extension, which will increase the size of both the downstairs living accommodation and the existing 3rd and 4th bedroom accommodation. Due to the sufficient distance between the host dwelling and the neighbouring property number 26 Churchfield, 45-degree angle has been adhered to, and there does not appear to be any loss of amenity. There is no need for any revision in parking provision. Consider no objection provided that there will be no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties. So this particular property, it's a bit strange because all the ones that match its design are all round the bend in the road. This one's just sitting there, this little rodeo, and it's sort of, yeah, and it's got its garage to the side.
Is it the same architect?
And to be honest, a lot of them, when I downloaded the Ross and Holden's website, didn't actually come out.
The app that,
So that's.
Yeah, that's down,
Yeah.
it's not.
my system said, I can get,
So I
get
had
an
to
hour.
try and get to.
It's talking not on my PC, no trouble at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, so that's the property there that is the closest property to it really, and it doesn't really affect.
Yeah, well, I was more observing them. We are going to they've got really hard.
Yeah,
I mean, this is pretty, very straightforward.
Mm.
Yes.
Not really, is it?
It's fine.
It's okay.
Does anyone want to take them?
like you.
I would mind to go to recommendation. All in favour? Okay, on to 5/2022/0587, each side Byron Road. Your observation on this one.
So this property is sited in the Hovenden conservation area, and as stated in this submitted heritage statement, has already had 2 previous proposals permitted for alterations to be carried out. This proposal is for a 1-storey front extension, which will extend the living accommodation forwards by a depth of approximately 4.5 metres to link it up to the existing 1-storey side element. A small 2-storey extension is proposed to the side of the property to enable an ensuite to an existing bedroom. First floor bedroom space remains as existing, with the ground floor proposing a study bedroom. As the first floor side extension is to be set in from the neighbouring boundary and pulled away from the confines of the existing side building line, This does not appear to create any detrimental impact on neighbouring property number 4 Barham Road, whose property is set forward from the host dwelling. The application shows that the existing frontage of the property is to be altered to allow for the existing 2 vehicle parking spaces to remain. The brick wall housing a flower bed to be removed, creating more available area. There's a large tree in the front garden which, although is not going to be removed, may suffer from possible root damage from vehicles parking within its vicinity. Consider expressed concern that the proposal is an overdevelopment of the site with regards to the size and scale of the single-storey front extension, which would result in a cramped appearance and therefore would not be conducive to the character or appearance of the street scene in the Harpenden Conservation Area. So this one, it's a nice property, but I think if they build on the front of it, it's going to be a little cramped.
So it's a fairly constrained site.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Right, actually.
And even though they remove that flower there, it's just going to be, I think, far too.
Bigger.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
It's an attractive.
And I
But I think
I'm afraid.
I thought what's it's just
It's too much.
it's just a step too far.
Yeah.
Size of site.
Yeah.
I think apart from it's too, and I think it's going to have an adverse effect on the appearance of the conservation area.
Yeah. And I think
Look at the current plans.
you are looking at, these are the current, and you must know because they.
Yes, that's fine. I thought I was. I'm sorry. You can't spot. The proposed. The proposed.
Existing?
It's not it.
No,
This is the proposed.
this is the proposed.
thing.
And that's.
It's being done.
That tree will hopefully be affected the minute they start putting heavy vehicles around because it affects the tree roots themselves.
Yeah. I can see the tree on the whole.
No, it's not. It's rare, unless it, well, this is when it's all been taken.
Yeah.
Taken. Should be marked on the plan, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and there are some steps here on the side, which look like they're where that tree is, give and take.
Yeah,
How are they concerned about that tree? We didn't know.
I mean, whether they've had permission to take it down,
I've already got a TPO,
yeah,
but not.
there's no TPO on it, so it's not marked. It wasn't marked up on the GIS.
Yeah.
You see how close it is to the front of it's red.
Actually, the street was it?
It's exactly on the property.
The tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a big tree.
it's on the property. It means right. Yeah, I'm surprised they get that front section goes all the way across.
My concern is that there's something here labelled new steps, which look like it's going to be very tight, and where that tree is.
That's what they're going to do.
It says new steps.
New steps. Oh,
That implies that they're new.
it means that's even putting those in. Is it right next to where?
Next to the boundary. Either that tree is gone, or it's going to be tight if they're keeping that tree.
Yeah.
It would have to be squished into this gap. I don't think that's a technical planning term. Squished is. And they're excavating quite a lot. Where the roots of that tree are going to be. Anyone want the plans? Any of the plans? Okay. So the current recommendations expressed concern, the content of expressed concern is enough, seeing lots of shaking heads. In that case, we minded towards refusal, all in favour? Could we also add some language in about the tree? Just so that we're confident that that tree is.
You think they got permission to remove it and just refund that?
Well, yeah,
No, it's good.
Our job as a consultee is just to bring these things to district attention. It's up to district as to whether they consent to them. Okay, 5/2022-0889 does not meet the criteria, and neither does 0679. So on to 5/2022-0831 28 Tennyson Road.
This property is a 5-bedroom semi-detached locally listed property set in the Harpenden Conservation Area, and the proposal shows a single-storey rear extension which will run in line with the adjoining neighbouring property's rear extension. The proposed 2-storey side extension is shown to be set back and lower than the host dwelling, with the roof design imitating the existing roof and that of the existing neighbouring property. It will be set away from the adjoining neighbour with sufficient distance from the other neighbouring property, number 30 Tennyson Road, in order to avoid any loss of amenity. This 2-storey element of the proposal will incorporate an additional bathroom with no changes to habitable bedroom accommodation. There will be no loss of trees to the property and no need to alter parking accommodation. Consider no objections subject to an appropriate design and use of materials on this locally listed building sited in the conservation area.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, right, here we go. That's the
Thank you.
system.
Yeah, yes.
It's like controls.
Oh, there you go. You can just see on here, which is this size extension.
It's fine. It's not glass, is it?
No, it's not glass. No.
Looks fine to me.
No, I'm fine.
Any comments from councillors? Mind to go with the recommendation? No? Good. 5/2022-0722 is the criteria. So on to 5/2022 0816. Fewer twos in the years.
This property is sited on a relatively large plot in Crabtree Lane. The proposed single-storey front and side extension is set well within the site and appears to have sufficient screening to the side and rear of the property. There will be an additional bedroom included in the scheme, which will alter habitable accommodation for 4 to 5 bedrooms. Parking provision is sufficient with a garage and spaces for at least 3 vehicles. Consider no objections subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties.
Anyone with the papers for this one?
Yeah, fine.
Happy to go with the recommendation? All in favour? Lovely. 5/2022-09 573 Dale.
The proposal for this property is to replace the existing flat roof single-storey side extension with another which continues around to the rear, extending the ground floor living accommodation. The proposed single-storey front extension is to be positioned to the left-hand side of the property in order to include the main entrance. Parking remains unchanged at one parking space on the frontage. No trees will be affected. The proposal does not appear to affect the amenity of neighbouring properties, with a small front extension making no great impact on the street scene. Consider no objection, and no letters of objection have been received.
Want to see the plans for this one? All in favour of the recommendation? Okay, 5/2022/0958 does not meet the criteria required for consideration. So 5/2022/0730, what's 2 Willoughby Road? On the spot.
This property is sited at the end of Willoughby Road at the junction with Ox Lane. The proposal is to extend above the existing single-storey front side extension, by adding a first floor side extension, which will incorporate an additional bedroom to this 3-bedroom home. First floor element shows a front gable and is proposed to be built up to the existing front and side building lines of the property, thereby failing to remain subservient to the original dwelling. Currently, there is no available parking at the property. The application states that a new or altered access is proposed to and from the highway, but this is not detailed on the proposal. No trees appear to be affected by the proposal. Recommend refusal due to the design of the proposal, which is bulky and overpowering in appearance and will result in a detrimental impact on the street scene. Concerns are expressed also in regards to the lack of parking provision with regards to the addition of a 4th bedroom.
Just to refresh my memory.
Yeah, I'd say it was as well about the fact that no details were given of the new or altered access proposed to the highway, given its location on the function.
I mean, to be honest, if we're recommending refusal, I would remove the big fact concerns are also expressed. Let's go. They do say no.
No details have been provided. Yeah.
Side access to the property, is that not just no driveway?
But it is, I know that's the problem, they don't actually tell you, but it could just be the footpath. But yes, it probably is, but it's slightly misleading. Yes. Because it says new or altered access is proposed to and from the highway, so it's a bit
Oh, so that you think they might be trying to, they could potentially be trying to squeeze the driveway.
it's
Without
not very clear, is it?
We can't speculate. We don't have enough information to speculate. This is the existing.
Yeah, and this is that's the bit that they want.
It can't be technically, I've got no issues, but it is just the rest of it. Personally, I don't have that much of a problem with the development, just the parking. It's within. There is. Any comments from councillors? Would you like me to pass these road? So that is good. We use the missing person out projections.
I don't think I could be given
Yes, it is. Yes.
How did you do it?
Yes, that's- I think you said that's about 15 years of doing it.
Not me, the calculations during the
Yeah.
lockdown. Might sort of got back in here and now a papers available.
I'll just have it go along with what was recommended.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. Yes.
It's quite cool.
With the minor amendment on the wording of the part. Make it clear on this. And details.
Yes, because I read it if somebody refers to access to and from the highway. I didn't like, I read that, vehicle access, but perhaps they don't.
But you can't, I mean, unless they're parking in the living room, I don't see how you could get. vehicle access.
No, I don't see how
Not
you
in the
can.
plot.
So I presume that they didn't mean football, it's a bit ambiguous. It's still.
Yes.
So what would you like me to do regarding?
Just, whereas there's concern to express also just the committee also notes that there's a lack of parking provision in regards to the additional bedroom. No details have been provided on the new or altered access that proposed to and from the highway. That makes sense.
Yes.
Just saying it's contiguous. Continuous with purpose. All in favour? 2022-09-35 at 8 Aldwick Road.
So the proposal for this property shows that the part single, part two-storey rear extension will extend property as far as the rear building lines of the neighbouring buildings. The host property is sited very slightly forward on its plot to its neighbours, with its existing rear element pulled a long way back from both the adjacent properties. The proposed two-storey element of the design will not impact on its neighbour, the number 10 Aldwick Road, due to sufficient distance between the two properties. There'll be no change to parking provision due to no alteration to bedroom accommodation. No trees will be affected by the proposal. Consider no objection. No letters of objection have been received either.
Any comments from councillors on this? Happy with the other recommendation on the vote? Lovely. 5/2022-09-50 and 09-02 don't meet the criteria required for consideration. So on to 5/2022-09-38-23 Alex Way.
So this property is set in the Hartlepool Conservation Area and a portion of it is locally listed. The proposal is to extend on the locally listed area of the building with a single-storey front extension to form a porch with cloakroom and separate toilets facilities. The front two-storey element appears to be proposed for the portion of the building which is not locally listed and will continue the bedroom areas on the first floor and appears to improve the appearance of the roof line at the front of the building by removing the slanting roof of the existing single-storey extension, balancing out the property. The single-storey rear extension is shown to square up the dining and sitting area and does not impact on the locally listed part of the property. Parking provision is sufficient for this property and the impact on trees is nil. The proposal will not have a detrimental impact on neighbouring properties and will not affect the character of the conservation area or the street scene due to the variety of dwellings already present. Consider no objections subject to the appropriate design and use of materials on this locally listed building within the Hartlepool Conservation Area.
Everyone have a look at the page?
Very good. And there's no-
May I just say what a joy it is in local government, our building is partially locally listed, but not entirely. Only in Britain would you find such a thing. Any, all in favour of the recommendation?
That's the bit, I looked at that, the pictures, closely, I couldn't work out 5 bits were listed.
I think if we try and wonder why, neither, that ruins the whole spirit.
That's good, that's the list.
Yeah.
Right, we haven't had any appeals, preservation or the tree work for noting, conservation area, tree work and technical applications for noting, in list of weakness of all the district council decisions are just for noting. The next meeting will be held on Tuesday, the 17th of May, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. in the usual place. The next meeting plan report will be held on Monday, 23rd of May, at 7 p.m. Again, I appreciate it. After that, I bring the close at 9:24.